Okay. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Arcata City Council meeting tonight, which is Wednesday, October 1st, and it's 2025 still. It's at 6 p.m. Well, if we were at a.m., you might not be here, but nevertheless. So I would like to do the land acknowledgement. Just one moment, please. The land acknowledgement. The city of Arcata acknowledges the lands we have located on are the unceded ancestral lands of the Wiyot tribe. The land that Arcata rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Gudini, meaning over in the woods, or among the redwoods. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous people from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Arcata acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement seeks to aid in dismantling the legacy narratives of settler colonialism. Thank you. We next have the flag salute, and if you'd like to join us, please do. Roll call, please.
Before I call roll, can I just check in on if there's a report out from closed session?
Oh, yes. So we had closed session meeting and we have nothing to report out. And thank you for asking.
Okay, for roll call, Mayor Stillman,
Present.
Vice Mayor White,
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Here.
Councilmember Atkins Salazar,
Here.
Councilmember Matthews,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. So under ceremonial matters, we have 3 tonight. We have a proclamation in recognition of Fire Prevention Week, which is October 5th to the 11th, 2025. And Councilmember Stacy Atkinson Salazar will be reading that tonight.
Thank you. Whereas the City Council of Arcata is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in the City of Arcata and visiting, and whereas most of the electronics used in homes daily, including smartphones, tablets, laptops, power tools, e-bikes, e-scooters, and toys, are powered by lithium-ion batteries, which, if misused, damaged, or improperly charged, can overheat, start a fire, or explode. And whereas residents should follow 3 key calls to action: buy only listed products, charge batteries safely, and recycle them responsibly to prevent battery-related fires. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme, Charge into Fire Safety, Lithium-Ion Batteries in Your Home, serves to remind us of the importance of using, charging, and recycling lithium-ion batteries safely to reduce the risk of fires in the homes and communities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes October 5th through 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week throughout the City of Arcata. And it's signed by our Mayor, Alexandra Stillman. And today we have our Fire Chief, Chris Emmons from the Arcata Fire District, and also a schoolmate from Arcata High School. I'm here to accept this, so thank you.
I just want to recognize Mayor and Council for bringing recognition to lithium-ion battery safety and recognizing Fire Prevention Week. We do this every year. It's a national theme, and we'll be having up at our McKinleyville station on Saturday the 4th from 10 to 2. We'll be having an open house, so if you're interested in coming up and visiting the fire station, meeting some of our firefighters and seeing some of our equipment, plus some of our other allied agencies will be there. We'll have safety tips. We'll also be putting on some CPR demonstrations. And if the weather cooperates, we should have a helicopter there. And we usually use the helicopters to bring everybody in. And then we should have puppies from the shelter to keep everybody there. So we're looking forward to it. Hope to see some of you there. And thanks again for recognizing the importance of this.
And thank you. Proclamation. is recognizing October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Councilmember Sarah Schaefer will be reading that.
Okay. Whereas domestic and intimate partner violence remains a serious issue affecting all people, regardless of age, race, ethnicity, sex, gender, socioeconomic status, literacy, sexuality, ability, religion, culture, and immigration status. Survivors are deprived of dignity, security, and autonomy with systematic use of control and power through physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic abuse. And whereas Humboldt Domestic Violence Services, HDVS, has been serving Humboldt County since 1977 to continually support all of those living with or escaping from abuse. And whereas all survivors deserve access to culturally responsive prevention programs and services to increase their safety and self-sufficiency. HDVS enlists a diverse array of allies, agencies, and community members in supporting survivors of domestic and intimate partner violence. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata recognizes the month of October 2025 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Council celebrates HDVS's 48 years of effort to improve community safety by breaking the cycle of domestic and intimate partner violence. And that's dated today, October 1st, and signed by our Mayor, Alexandra Stillman. And we have Amber Campbell here from Humboldt Domestic Violence Services to accept this.
Would you like to say a few words? Thank you very
Shy.
much.
I want to thank the council and the city of Arcata on behalf of our executive director, Emily Fuentes Nielsen, and our small but mighty staff of 10. We have been working diligently to support survivors through some pretty difficult financial times. And so I would encourage anyone who would like to donate to go to hdvs.org and help us out so that we can continue to do the work to help survivors in Humboldt County.
Thank you very much. Our next proclamation is recognizing September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as Latinx Heritage Month. And Councilmember Kimberly White will read that.
Thank you. Whereas the City of Arcata proudly recognizes Latinx Heritage Month as a time to honor the rich histories, cultures, and lasting contributions of Latinx Americas, and whereas Latinx Heritage Month provides an opportunity for all Arcatans to celebrate the accomplishments, influence, and contributions of the Latinx community while also reflecting on the ongoing efforts needed to address the disparities and challenges faced by the Latinx residents and other historically underserved communities. And whereas Arcata is proud to be a sanctuary city, reaffirming its commitment to protect and support immigrant communities, ensuring that all residents, regardless of immigration status, can live without fear and contribute to the city's social, cultural, and economic vitality. And now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as the Latinx Heritage Month in the City of Arcata, and it calls upon all residents to honor, celebrate, and support the continued contributions of Latinx Americans, both past and present, in shaping the future of our community, dated October 1st, 2025, by our Mayor, Alexandra Stillman. And I believe that this will be accepted by Harry Lagunas, if they're here, or Brenda Perez. Perfecto.
My name is Henry Roberto Lagunas, and I'd like to thank the City of Arcata and share a small piece of writing, if that's okay. Mi corazón nada en cielo azul y nubes blancas. La semilla fue un canto de mi padre, un niño en un río sandía. Mi amor muere en tierra caliente y reaparece en las corrientes de tonterías y tristeza. Recuerdo tepache y fútbol gay. La lluvia de coca inundó la avenida. Todavía siento el dolor de la pérdida con 2 helados en el calor de Altamirano. Mira lo que estoy buscando. En el sol encontré textura y política, ahogándome en estas realidades. Cuando no llegué a mi hogar, tenía la esperanza de una decisión permanente. Son lágrimas del desprecio de mi vida. Ocupo imágenes de magia manipuladora. Otra etapa de dolores verdes y aguas frescas. Quería fluir con el fin del mundo y no sentir ese nopal en mi frente. ¿Te acuerdas del lugar correcto? Sigo explorando la belleza de nuestros paisajes. No sé por qué soy como soy. ¿Por qué soy tibio en mi revelación? Siempre cansado de esta actuación. El brillo de mis fantasías es una área gris. Me confunde soñar en diferentes lenguajes en la ausencia de un mestizaje. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is reports by commissions or committees, and we do not have any this evening. And the next item is staff reports. And all reports shall be specifically limited to city business and shall not request or lead to action by the council at this meeting. So we are going to receive a presentation from Bartell Wells Associates and result of the City of Arcata's water and wastewater rate study. I would like to turn that over to you.
Yeah, and Mayor Stillman, our consultant, was delayed on a plane and they are stuck in San Francisco and our Zoom is not functioning in this meeting. So we're going to have to postpone that and bring that back for another meeting. I apologize.
All right, thank you very much. So our next would be B, other staff reports. So do you have any other staff reports with this
I
evening?
currently have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go on to oral communications, which is also written communications. And the city council values your comments. The public comment period allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. This early section of public comment is limited to 15 minutes, and speakers are limited to 2 minutes each. If you prefer to have a full 3 minutes at the end of the meeting, you may also speak at that time. Please know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the agenda. The council may respond to statements. There will also be a time to provide public comments specific to each item on the agenda this evening. So we have we have one person. You want to come up and speak? Number one, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Andrew W. Christian, resident here, homeowner, voter, great-grandson, grandson, son, father, and grandfather. Hope to be a great-grandfather someday. I'm here in support of the Arcata Ghazi Municipality Sister City Project. I wholeheartedly support this. I'm here to add my voice and my name to the many concerned and outraged and upset Arcata citizens who also support a declaration from you, everyone on the Arcata City Council here, to declare officially that the Ghazi Municipality and Arcata are sister cities. It's a very simple action and very simple declaration to make this statement of support. It's a very humble statement, but also it's very strong in these times. And this statement is a statement of solidarity with the people, now overwhelmingly children under the age of 10 and women who remain in Gaza City, and wounded people. And it sends a real positive message to these people who are survivors. And that positive message is that we here in Arcata, we recognize that these people do not want to be murdered or bombed or sniped or starved, and they want to remain alive, and they want to be healthy, and they want to be with their families in the only home they have ever known, and that is Gaza City in the nation of Palestine. And I ask you, as your neighbor, please do not delay in taking this humble action. And please, it's an important action, and I urge you to put it on next week's agenda so you can take a vote. We'll all support you in that vote, and that you make the motion to make that vote next week, and you vote in favor of the sister city resolution. There's not a whole lot of time left for these
Thank you
people.
very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Number two, person with the number two. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Pat Kanzler. I am from Eureka. Member of a lot of organizations, healthcare workers for Palestine, Veterans for Peace, Humboldt for Palestine, Taxpayers Against Genocide. There are a lot of them, but and you know, after all these months, what's going on in Gaza, and they're starving them now. I would like to say the global Samud flotilla has been taken by Israeli forces on international waters. The flotilla was carrying people from approximately 44 countries, and they had aid to Gaza, just aid. And the rogue state of Israel, which has been killing, bombing, and starving people in Palestine and other states, should be sanctioned and dismantled, as they have nukes and they have no nuclear treaty. They are imperialistic, trying to conquer other countries to become a greater Israel. As you can see, because the U.S. is aiding and enabling the rogue state of Israel, we, as a city, must send aid to Palestine, Gaza, because we are true humanitarians, looking out for the well-being of fellow citizens in this world. Please vote for a sister city to Gaza. Show the compassion and love that you feel to all human beings who are being massacred and lost. I want to mention another thing, that actually, if we don't do this, we're doing what Trump wants. He just said, finish it to them. So please, we need to fight a lot of things. And one of the things we need to do is fight Trumpian values. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number three, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Allison Talbot. I'm your local government relations representative for PG&E. I live here in Humboldt County. My role is to serve as a liaison between PG&E and the city of Arcata. I want to be able and can assist you with any issues that come up, be they constituent issues, city issues, even regional ones, as pertains to PG&E. I really very much appreciate the strong working relationship I have with the city of Arcata's staff. They are so professional, decorum in all of our interactions, which is much appreciated in these times. And I'd just like to make sure that you know I'm here to assist you in any way I can. The city manager has my email and cell phone number if you require PG&E assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So speaker number four, please.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Mike Edwards, and I am on the edge of Arcata parking wars up on I Street. This week we saw a car towed for occluding a driveway, and I've noticed an uptick in Cal Poly students parking at Larson Park down at the end of the street. I've hesitated to call or report this to the police because now one of my neighbors, Gideon Wilson, a young man who works two jobs and lives at the opposite end of the street, has to park his car at Larson Park overnight. And I see him every morning when he walks by my house around 7:30. Additionally, another one of my neighbors, Jenna Miata, who lives down at the opposite end of the street, right near the dorms, has become concerned about whether the fire department can get a fire truck down the street. And we're hoping that they will test that and see if our fire safety has been impeded at all. I look forward to seeing our petition on your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number one. This is the second. Yes, thank you.
Hello, thanks for giving me a few minutes to talk. I'm Leah Nagy. I live at 2585 I Street for 45 years. When I first lived there, the train would come in and pick up lumber, and my 4-year-old son would wait every day, 5:30, for that train. Well, things have changed. Now we have Cal Poly right next to me. I like the college kids. I don't mind if they come out on the street and smoke marijuana and whatever, because they can't smoke in the dorms. But we do have a major parking problem. I have a business, an Airbnb for the city of Arcata. I pay transient occupancy taxes. There is no place for people to park. When my son comes to visit, there's no place for him to park. So we would like the city of Arcata to consider a permit, 7 to 5 at least, so that we could have some parking spaces. And that's basically why I'm here. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns, you can contact me, leonagi@yahoo.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 2, please.
Mayor Stillman, could I
Yes.
just make one point through the chair is that staff is aware in the transportation, the traffic safety committee has taken this up, so we will be bringing an agenda back to the council on
Yeah.
UIE Street in the near future.
Yeah, I figured that would happen, and I appreciate that you came last meeting and brought this forward too, and I figured there would be some movement on it because of that. So thank you for coming again this evening. And also thank you for coming and speaking on the same item. Next, please.
Thank you. My name is Sean. I'm here to speak to you about the possibility of a sister city between Arcata and Gaza City. I feel that we can make a material difference in the lives of Palestinians. We may not be able to solve the whole problem alone as one little village or community, city, small city, but with other people around the world doing similar things that make a material difference in the lives of Palestinians, we can, over time, be the change. We can be part of the solution. The Red Cross has just pulled out of Gaza City and the north. This is a catastrophe. They're saying that it's due to Israel's escalations. 50% of the people in Gaza City are children, 50% children. Can you imagine if Arcata was 50% children? Oh my goodness. 50% children are at the focal point of the attack of a colonial force occupying Palestine. 50% children are the ones in the crosshairs of this incredibly horrific military machine. This is one of the oldest cities in the world that's been continuously existing. So we have shown with the sister city, providing humanitarian aid and creating cultural exchange between Arcata and Gaza City, just how positive this can be for Arcata and for Gaza City. And we'd like this city to officially become a sister city and join with that process of being a positive contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so our speaker, next speaker, please.
Hi, City Council. I bet you're thrilled to see me again. I'm here once again to support making Arcata a sister city with Gaza City and to needle your hesitation from yet another angle. Let's get the usual out of the way. Israel's engaged in a genocide. It's a fact. Whoever doesn't like it should take it up with Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, 86% of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, the International Court of Justice, Doctors Without Borders, B'Tselem, Oxfam, Jewish Voice for Peace, Defense for Children International, and most of the planet outside of America that recognizes this for what it is. The verdict of the world has been made clear. I've been here to talk to you before about material benefits of the sister city, that the children our politicians call terrorists get a break from the horror of war to paint and have fun and be children again. But there's a more long-term benefit at stake. I heard someone recently say that the sister city is important because of the cultural exchange it offers. Someday soon, God willing, the carnage will end. If there are any of them left by that point, the Palestinians will have to pick up the pieces of their nation and rebuild. They have been convinced by 77 years of Israeli cruelty and apartheid, abuse and degradation that they are alone and that they have no way out but by blood. All they know about us is that we sell the missiles to Israel that murder their families. The children orphaned and crippled by the killing will know rage at the world's indifference as they grow up, and there will be old bloodshed in a new generation. Our sister city can change that. The RPJC's partnership with workers in Gaza already is. They're showing the children of Palestine who we are, that we share with them the same human impulses to help the lost and the despaired, to tremble with that same fury at senseless tyranny, and to be safe and happy with the people that we love, that we aren't all scum-sucking congressmen and arms dealers. We have a chance, however small, to nurture understanding and love between common people separated by 8,000 miles of ocean. Please take it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, please.
Thank you, members of the City Council, citizens of Arcata, Humboldt County. Towards the promotion of peace and compassion and humanitarian assistance for Gaza, I urge the City Council to support the pending resolution for the adoption of a formalized sister city relationship between Arcata and Gaza City in Palestine. And secondly, the adoption of a resolution to prohibit the procurement of materials and services or contracting thereof from companies that are known to be in violation of international law in Israel or Palestine. I believe the Sister City resolution embraces our community's collective humanity through nurturing and sustaining a spiritual imperative while providing a material reality of respect, cooperation, and cultural partnership with compassion for a human population that has long suffered immense injustices and cultural annihilation. I believe the procurement restrictions resolution is simply good business policy for a city government that I presume supports ethical approaches to its business of governance. I personally support all efforts to pursue peaceful resolution of differences and conflicts through dialogue and negotiation, consistent with lifelong values. I stand for compassion, empathy, justice, respect, and the rights to dignity and self-determination for all humans, as well as towards this planet, which is in and of itself a miracle to which we all owe our lives. I believe in assembling unity and encouraging collaboration, building bridges and pathways, and tearing down walls and dams and executive orders. I stand resolutely opposed to the various and nefarious means of sowing division and hatred for the other that far too long has characterized human relations and government policies and politics. Please support these two resolutions. Do right by our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Arcata. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker, please.
Mayor Stillman.
I don't know, is our 15 minutes?
We've had 8 speakers and we've gone up through 15 minutes of early order.
Have we already reached 15
Yes.
minutes? Thank you. So we've reached 15 minutes. I'm sorry you won't be able to speak, but we will have oral communications at the end of our meeting. So thank you very much. So we'll be going on to our consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar are considered to be routine by the City Council and are enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion on any of these items. If discussion is required, that item is removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. At the end of the reading of the consent calendar, a council member can request that an item be removed for separate discussion. Members of the public may comment on any item remaining on the consent calendar in the comment period before the vote. Number A, approval to waive reading of the text and consent to read by title only for any ordinance on this agenda. B, approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting study session of September 10, 2025. C, approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting of September 15, 2025. D, approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting of September 17, 2025. E, approve the minutes of the City Council meeting of September 17, 2025. F, biweekly report on disbursements. G, award of a contract for zoning updates, planning services to Lisa Wise Consulting, Inc. in the amount of $549,711. Authorize an increase up to 10% for contingencies and approve necessary associated related actions. H, adopt resolution number 256-12, approving guidelines for the Home Investment Partnership Tenant-Based Rental Assistant Program, not a project pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. I, ratify the employment agreement with Kristen Ortega, I've always called him Chris, for the position of police chief for the term of October 12th, 2025 to October 31st, 2029. Approve the fiscal year 2025-2026 capital improvement program CPI book. Just a second. And K, approve signing on to the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County's proposed letter supporting all Humboldt County members, community members, and authorize the mayor to sign the letter. And I, approve the annual proclamation and recognition of National Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, PACE Month, and add to the proclamation to the council-approved list. Is there anything on the agenda that council member would like to withdraw?
I'd like to pull items H and I.
H and I. And anyone else have items they would like to pull? May we have, okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak on any of the items on this agenda before we have a motion and a second? May we have a motion and a second to approve items A minus H and I through L? Please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we'll have a motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those not? Okay. Thank you. It passes. So H, and Councilmember White?
Yeah, I just wanted to commend staff for making sure that we do not allow our most vulnerable residents to fall between the cracks. This program will keep the highest growing demographic of our seniors from becoming unhoused. I also want to commend the past 2017 City Council's decision to give a wait list priority to seniors over age 55 and our unhoused community members. That was it.
So are there any other comments? May we have a motion and then we can take public comment? Would you like to move for that? H?
I will make a motion to approve item H.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Joanne McGarry, and I am very grateful to be a recipient of this TBRA program. And it was touch and go for a little bit this summer, and I'm glad that we were able to get the grant monies to extend it for people like me who really benefit by having it in existence. I do want to say that I understand it was intended as a bridge grant for Section 8 program. So people who qualify for the City of Arcata grant monies for TBRA will hopefully be able to qualify for Section 8. But I do just need to share that currently Section 8 is not available for many of us, especially the voucher program. So as much as we are all willing and wanting to have that happen until things change in the federal government, the reality is this is a really important life-saving program for many, many of us, and I hope more and more people can be a part of it while it exists. So just thank you again for this effort on behalf of some of us in the community who really benefit by this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Hearing no one, may we, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor,
Yes,
I just didn't hear your vote. Mayor Stillman.
I voted yes.
Thank you.
So we'll go on to I, ratify the employment agreement with Christian Ortega for a position of police chief. And you, Councilman White?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm thrilled that Lieutenant Ortega has been chosen as Arcata's new police chief. He has dedicated his career to law enforcement and has served the Arcata Police Department for over 20 years. He's served and has overseen nearly every position in the department and understands all the roles and responsibilities well, including investigations patrol, evidence, school resource officers, and regional task force. He's also bilingual. He has been responsible for supporting administrative functions, including budget development, grant management, internal affairs, background investigations, and incident command. He has been a cornerstone of our efforts on community outreach and the lead for hate crime coordination, and has been instrumental in building bridges with the university. But most of all, Chris will be a community-oriented chief that understands what the citizens and council are looking for in policing a community. And finally, Lieutenant Ortega is an embodiment of a peace officer promoting community and safety engagement. I have seen Chris at work during our Sanctuary City Town Hall on D Street neighborhood. And as most know, Lieutenant took the lead at this town hall, and that there was a Latinx woman who spoke limited English and was moved to tears. At first, I was like, uh-oh. And then I realized these tears were of relief and happiness because she knew that during these tumultuous times that she can depend, and we can all depend on Lieutenant Ortega. Chris has our Latinx communities back. So thank you, and I'm thrilled. Again, congratulations, Chris.
So may we have a motion to that effect? I know we're all very pleased to have this on our agenda for this evening.
I wanted to say well said, Councilmember White. Thank you. I did also want to welcome him, but you said it very well. So I will go ahead and make the motion to accept I.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So is there any comments on this? Thank you.
Hello, my name's Joanne McGarry, and I've had the opportunity to have extended conversation with Chris Ortega, and am very excited that he will be leading the police department in the near future. And gracias para la ayuda cuando las personas te hablan en español en la comunidad. Gracias.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Dan Shaheen from Arcata. I also wanted to throw my support behind Chris Ortega. I've had dealings with him in regards to some hate incidents on the plaza. He was extremely responsive. They didn't really do anything about it, but there wasn't anything that could be done. But he was receptive and willing to talk at length on the subject and called me personally to talk about it. It's that kind of personal approach that we need in our police department. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And thank you and welcome. Old business, the award of a contract in the amount of $300,000 to Smith Group, Inc. for professional services for planning, community outreach, preliminary concept design for Reconnect Arcata project. And we have a staff report for you. Microphone on, so you want me to say it again? Or could you all hear me out there? Could you hear me? You could hear me. Oh, good. I don't have to say it again. Thank you. People on TV. Okay, on old business, we're awarding a contract in the amount of $300,000 to Smith Group, Inc. for professional services for planning, community outreach, and preliminary concept design for Reconnect Arcata project. May we please have a staff report? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, a member of the public, and staff. This item in front of you is a follow-up of the item from the last meeting. During the last meeting, we had a budget of $500,000 for this project, but after consulting with our team and our consultant, we reduced that to $300,000. So we are seeking some directions and recommendation how to move forward in the project at this time. I'll just maybe, I see some new faces here, so I'll just maybe go give a quick background on the project here. Reconnecting Communities Highway to Boulevard program. It's one of the new program that was created by the state in early 2023. And in 2024, early 2024, we were one of the three cities selected for this program. One of the main goal of the Reconnecting Communities Highway to Boulevard program was to connect the communities back that was divided by highways. State acknowledges that during the development or construction of highways in 60s and 70s, in the name of development, they have built a lot of highways, and in that process, they have divided the communities. So to correct that, they created this program to do so. Initially, when the program was started, there was $135 million, which was supposed to be divided into 3 cities. However, there was some shortage in budget, so that was cut back to $75 million, and the goal was to divide that money equally among the 3 cities and do the project. And we were very excited, and we were ready to move forward in 2025, but mid-2025, we learned that there's again short of budget and they will not be able to move forward in the project. However, we had a good momentum with our team and the project partners, and we wanted to move forward. So internally, we decided to maybe since there's a momentum, let's move the project in some way so we can do some initial work. Initially, when we were supposed to get a grant for $25 million and we were going to do initial planning work, the cost estimate for this task was $3 million to do all initial. For the citywide, it was not just for the one region, but for the citywide doing a master planning, the cost estimate was around $3 million. And that's how we had released the RFP to do the work. However, once we learned that we will not be getting the grant, so we reduced that to $500,000, and now it is reduced to $300,000, and we are seeking directions from the council on that one. I have few slides, I just want to go over that. So I share this is the project area. When we say Reconnect Arcata project, and it was a big announcement on the paper, so the high focus was a cap, which was supposed to cover the portion of a highway in front of the Cal Poly and downtown Arcata. That's only gets emphasized, but Reconnect Arcata project that includes the three zones, one called the North, Center, and the South, which includes connecting the areas that are divided by the highway. So in this picture, you can see this is the North region, Valley West area, where there is a Highway 299, US 101, and in concept, when we submitted the grant application, was to connect these two areas by some sort of a bridge, some sort of anything we can do to connect this area. So you will see all this blue areas is how we can connect back the communities here. So this is the area that's showing connecting back. And again, I share this one. Again, as I said, this gets highly emphasized that this is the area in front of the Cal Poly. The goal initial, one of the concept was to cover the area between 14th and 16th Street to create an area of approximately 5 acres, and that could be used for different purposes. And those purposes could be in the form of a community place, park, housing, or anything we want to do. When I say we, it's not we. I think one of the main goals of the project was a community-driven project. Community will decide what they want to do. So these were just original concept, but when we start the project, we will go through the public engagement and community process where community will decide what they want to see in this area or how they want to see the Arcata connected back. So this is just some bullets of scope of work that we intend to do. I know this is just a text, so I'm not going to read it. I think the main question would be, how much is that going to cost? We received 8 tasks in a scope of work from our consultant for $3 million and also for $500,000. We have not got a detailed scope for $300,000 amount yet, but we think we can work with them and remove some of the tasks and just do initial essential tasks that is needed to keep the project moving. As I maybe said earlier, definitely we have already applied for a grant for this project, knowing that we will not be receiving funding through the state. We have already applied for one grant through Safe Streets for All, which we will be hearing in sometime in November or December. There is one more grant out there, open, and deadline is November 21, 2025, Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant, which in the past we have been successful. So we will be again submitting application for that. There is no guarantee that we will get it, but based on our past experience, we are highly likely to receive that funding. So once we receive that grant, which we will know mid-2026, what we are proposing at this point is let's move forward with this contract and move until we can at that point. And once we receive the grant, pause that and then start funding the portion of the work from the grant amount. And also, as I said this last time, I just wanted to highlight some of the stuff. And these are just some street projects that we have worked on over the years. You will see from 2014 to 2022. And you will see the amount, everything is approximate amount. What I'm trying to emphasize here is all of these projects were successful and we were able to do it and we are doing it and we will be doing it because we were able to leverage funds through general funds or some other enterprise fund, only for the last one, but for the remainder, we were able to leverage. I think the best example here is Old Arcata Road project. Originally, that project was started in 2008. However, there was not a community support, and nobody in the community in that area wanted that project, so we ended up not doing anything. In 2016, we received a lot of complaints, a lot of feedback from the community at the Transportation Committee. So we as a city decided to start the initial public engagement process using $50,000. And we did that. And because of that, this is like in 2009, years ago, because of that, we were able to get additional fundings, and today that project is complete. And same thing applies for all those projects here, Humboldt Bay Trail. Every single project has at least, on a larger scale, it has maybe 3%, but on other projects, there's at least 5 to 10% of all-wage match, seed money, or a leverage fund. We have always done that. So what we are trying to convince is, Reconnect Arcata project is a big project. Currently, there's no funding. There is a momentum. So let's start. Let's put seed money and plan for future so that we are in a better position, not in year or two, because once we start the process, by the time we execute the contract and start working, it will be early 2026. And it will take at least, and even if we go fast track, it will take 12 months to 2 years to get to the end of this planning phase, where we will know through the public engagement what we want to do. So we don't want to lose that maybe 2 years, so let's maybe start something. That's what I'm trying to get at. Similarly, the bottommost is the wastewater project. That's a very good example because we started that in 2016. Right now we are in construction. It was not a general fund, it was through our wastewater fund. However, we use our wastewater funds to do initial pre-design work, and which allowed us to do the initial work with public engagement and everything. That allowed us to apply for funding, and we were able to get the funding of $60 million, $66 million for the construction of wastewater project. And there are other examples of that. So I'm just wanting to emphasize we have done that and we can do it. That doesn't mean that there's a guarantee we will spend this money, $300,000, and we will get $50 million in 2 or 5 years. But I think we have a good pattern. We have done it. It's possible. So I just want to be optimistic and see if we can do this project. So with that, I'll pause, take questions, and seek some guidance from you on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'd like to start with, I know there were some considerations at the last council meeting, and would any of the council members who had considerations and would like to address them at this time?
I would.
Okay, and I know you had, okay.
Okay. First of all, I was asked to share some thoughts about reconnecting a project by a constituent who's out of town and could not be present. And of course, as we know, there's no Zoom options. The Reconnecting Arcata project is rooted in the concept of mitigating the harm caused by highway intrusion and underserved communities. Valley West is arguably the neighborhood most affected by this issue, as it is isolated by not one but 2 state highways. Additionally, it is arguably the least served neighborhood in Arcata, with a high density of seniors, disabled individuals, minorities, unhoused people, low-income residents, a population least likely to have a vehicle. Not only would a dedicated non-vehicular bridge from Valley West to the Beside Park neighborhood across 101, Highway 101, and another from Valley West to Janes Creek Meadows or the Hinahu Mulik Residence Hall neighborhood across 299 encourage a non-vehicular travel to the rest of Arcata from Valley West, but they would also offer an alternative way for folks from these neighborhoods to access City Park, shopping, and dining in Valley West. Carlson Park has the potential to be a premier destination for those nearby seeking outdoor recreation, and Valley West Park offers a dog park unique to the area. In addition, non-vehicular bridges oriented in those directions would eliminate the perceived need to cut the highway fence to allow people to dangerously cross the highways from Valley West, as currently happens continuously. Caltrans cannot keep these fences repaired because as soon as they're fixed, someone cuts through them again. Please take into consideration these thoughts about reconnecting Arcata project and do indeed commit the funds needed to begin its planning. And I just want to speak to, I live in Valley West, and it is like Frogger. This is like an organic, natural shortcut. So people are already doing this, except for that it's not safe because they're on the freeway. Quite a few of the unhoused individuals who don't have vehicles take this shortcut with their dog, and I've seen a dog get hit out there, and it was awful. The community decided that this project was shovel worthy. I understand we are concerned about budgeting this from the general fund, but Netra's department will continue to apply for these grants, and we'll be doing yet another, as he mentioned, in November. If planning grants become available and we don't have to use all of the funds allocated, even better. We've done a lot of projects over the years, and as our mayor says, these projects take time. If we're not doing it today, then we lose momentum. People are excited at the goal to reconnect, and as you know, Valley West is an island, so we cannot let this sit on the back burner. And speaking of leveraging, while there was not a monetary leveraging, case in point, Kuna adopted Carlson Park and held events at a previously unused park. This work was the impetus to getting funding from the state and Senator McGuire because of the investment of time. The dream would have not come to fruition if we had not set the stage and made an investment, whether it's monetary or time spent, and showed that this was shovel worthy. It resulted in a $2.4 million grant. So while there's a lot of reticence with state and federal funding cutbacks, if this goes on the back burner, when money does come in, we will not be poised and ready. And so this is why I would vote to move forward and honor the community's desire to reconnect. And finally, just want to say that we can't build our way from cars except to incentivize folks. So to not use the roads. So this is why the Reconnect Arcata project is so important. We have South Arcata covered with the multimodal safety improvement plan, SAMSIP, and we have Sunset covered. The Sunset Avenue project refers to the 101 Interchange Improvements Project, which aims to replace the 3 stop controlled intersections with some roundabouts and to improve safety and traffic flow. But it's time to start investing in Valley West. Thank you.
Thank you. And you read John's letter, which I think we all received, and it was well written, and he brought up some good points. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on this or ask questions of our staff?
Well, there's a lot. When we talk about the project, I do agree with Councilmember White that of the areas, the Valley West one, I think community-wide would be the priority area. We are, you did state how we are, we're taking care of South Arcata. There are ways across Mid Arcata, but Valley West, I totally agree with that. I guess where I have I have a lot of questions. I was also really excited about this, but I think when it had been brought up prior to, before you guys going out to getting the grant, but it was always just, and I'm mostly talking about the cap, like I think reconnecting Valley West, South Samoa, that's not quite as big of a reach, but that cap really generated a lot of enthusiasm once we heard it was going to be paid for. So I was like, sure, that's a great idea because the state is, because of a lot of the the things that you mentioned, Councilmember White, about equity and in freeway transportation, reconnecting it. So I know we did gain community support by, during that time. I have a feeling that the federal government, shut down, and I know we all know that, and I hope that that's not the case for very long, but that's where the bulk of this funding would be coming from, right? That's one of my questions. Because we do get money, so is that the case?
For future construction funds, we will need federal help. But currently, when we are applying for planning and design and environmental work, it'll be mostly state.
So like if the state had said we're going to pause it or reduce it, that would have been better, because I think reducing it would allow us even just to focus on what would be the priority. And I have a feeling that the community would agree that Valley West would be the priority. That seems logical to me. Councilmember White stated that really well. So I just think that, I don't know. I do feel hesitant right now. I don't feel hesitant about the project. I just feel hesitant about, waiting, I mean, have you thought about putting this in the queue through some of the projects that we get our road money through with HCOG to see if it could, I know that they, I mean, you're on the tax, so you know, it's a scoring and it needs to rise to the top. Do you think that it would come through as a countywide project that could be funded in the near future?
There's not a lot of money in the pool. That the most money that we get, we constructed our old Arcata Road project through the STIP fund, State Transportation Improvement Program. That's how we get most of our money. And there was a call for projects, and Reconnect Arcata is on the list, but we have done no planning work. You have to do some work because they need a document which is called project study report. Unless you have that in place, you will not get money for that. So this year for that funding, we are submitting South Arcata because we did the planning work. So we are in a position to get the next phase done. So we are applying for through STIP funds. We are asking money for that project because we have done project study report and we have done the initial work that was needed. So
I don't, I'll just ask, I have a lot of things. I'll just ask this last because I wasn't at the last meeting. Would it be, I know you keep paring down your ask, I get that, but would it be worth a conversation to talk about the region and if council members would want to, you know, go for the whole thing, nothing, or possibly prioritize part of it? So instead of planning for the whole thing, we just planned for, like, you know, like the Valley West portion, if that's what we think is, if that's what the community feels is the necessary part of it. Is that a possibility? I don't know where you guys all left off at the last meeting.
Go ahead. You wanted to speak on this?
No, I think, Stacey, that's a great idea. My position really hasn't changed very much since the last meeting. I'm really hesitant, especially after going through budget season and, you know, having to pass a tax so we're not in a $2 million deficit, you know. Really hesitant to take money out of reserves when we have, you know, things that we need to do right now. And I understand that there's momentum and we need to contain momentum. Is there any way, you said that you were waiting to hear back about a grant possibility that you might get in November? It's very hard for me to believe that there's any money coming from either the state or the federal government right now.
So the grant that we applied for is called Safe Streets for All. It's a federal grant. The federal government is shut, so that date may get pushed. So yeah, definitely, there's no guarantee that we'll get money, but as a city team, we are very fortunate to have a great team who puts a very good grant application. So we'll keep on applying until we get something, for sure.
So I just want to, you want to speak next? I just wanted to make a comment. Okay.
Question?
Mine is not a question.
No, that's what I'm saying. Maybe the question before the comment.
You can go ahead and ask a question.
Are you kind of then saying, Netra, that you believe that if we get this document or at least something down on paper that we have, even if these other grants then fall through, that we would at least have something that's tangible that we could take to apply for other grants, and that our opportunities to find funding for this kind of grow beyond what we've already applied for?
I think you put it very well. So yes, so once we do some initial work, it puts us in a very good position to apply for funding. Right now, once we apply a grant, we are just selling a dream. We have not done any public engagement. We have not talked to community. We have not done any work. So even the grantor, they don't want to fund that kind of project. They want to fund the project which they think is feasible, doable, which happens to the planning process and the public engagement process. So once you do that, you are in a better position. Nothing is guaranteed, you know, as you all know. It's just, it puts ourselves in a better position, and that's what we've been doing in the last 20 years, always putting ourselves in a better position by doing some initial legwork, which helps us to get the grant.
So we were in pretty good shape, and all of a sudden we had the fires in LA, and the governor decided that he wanted to take whatever kind of money he could get his hands on and put it into Los Angeles, into the fire disastered areas. I can totally understand that. So we had 3 projects that were being funded through this, and Arcata was the only rural one. We had one down in San Diego, and we also had one in South San Francisco. And as soon as we heard that we're pulling that money away, we made contact with those other cities to see if there was any possibility that we could work together with our legislators to come up with any funding. And so we have been diligently working on that to see and asking them, well, instead of giving us this much money, could you give us this much? And then, no, then we went down lower and lower until finally, if we were really interested in figuring out how to reconnect Arcata and moving forward on this, which was so exciting, and you were there, and it was exciting to have that happen. They think that as a rural area that had been affected by the freeway and well, 2 freeways, et cetera, that we could have an opportunity to see if we could do something different and be able to show that it works in a rural area and other rural areas could take advantage of it that have also been affected by various kinds of Caltrans projects throughout the state of California. So I'm at the point where I think we have to do something. And the overall thing, when we were going down and we had a vision or an idea, now other cities had done other work which we hadn't done. And what we need to do is catch up and do what they have done already. And to be in a place that with money that comes along the way, maybe we get through our fire and et cetera, and there will be some funding available. We're in a place now we can actually go out and actually see if we can't gather that money in. And it may come in pieces. This is not a project that's going to happen overnight. We know how long government takes to do any kind of thing. This is a big project. Maybe my grandchildren will see that happen, but I know that I won't see it happen because it's a planning process. So I'm thinking we need to bite the bullet and move forward on it, scary as it may be. But I think we're in the process of doing so many other things in Arcata, and I think it's well worth our while to make this appropriation. That's where I come from.
I mean, of course it's worth our while. It's a great program, but it's money that we don't have. This is money that we're taking out of our reserves that, you know, we need to be a little bit more. I feel like we funded a lot of things and there's a lot of great projects, but I am really hesitant to pull money out of reserves for something that will happen eventually, but I think we should focus on what we need to happen in the next 1, 2, 3 years than in the next 10 or 20 years right now. This staff does an amazing job of planning things out and having big, grand ideas, but we also need to be a little bit fiscally responsible right now. That's what I think.
So are we be able to get any feedback from our finance director?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening. So what I've put together is I wanted to make sure that you understood kind of where we're at, and your general fund does have unreserved fund balance of, we're estimating just about $9.9 million, which is a big amount of money, but there's a couple things that I would say it's one-time money, which means once you spend it, it's gone. We're estimating a good year for 24-25, but we have not budgeted for 25-26 to have any surplus. In fact, we're probably going to eat into that if we finish the projects as we've budgeted and are staffed up like we expect. So the $9.9 million that's unreserved fund balance, again, I think it has to be, whatever you decide to do with it, it needs to be a priority. And it needs to be something that you feel pretty strongly about because it is one-time money. I did want to make sure that we kind of acknowledge some of the other potential uses for that money, just so that you can weigh how important this particular planning money is to you. You know, this is what we would expect if we have unexpected expenses, or we lose money out on grants, or we only get partial grants for several of our current projects that are ongoing. This would likely be the source, including the US 101 and Sunset Avenue project, the Annie and Mary Trail. And even we didn't talk about it tonight, but our water fund is not in good shape, and that's something. It's also a source where we may need those funds if we had any capital or emergency repairs. We would probably have to jump into our general fund reserves to do that. It's also money that we're looking at backfilling funding for things like our streets, which we have discovered, come to the conclusion that we're overspending our street tax fund by about $1.5 million a year. This is something that we will have to deal with or make substantial cuts going forward. One of the things that we probably would have talked about if we talked about the rate study too is the possibility of subsidizing water or wastewater rates for low-income customers. They would have to come out of your general funds, and those are ongoing expenses that would eat away that $9.9 million pretty fast. Police services, newly added facilities, our CalPERS increases. The annual paving and sidewalk programs are another area that we're seeing that funding getting harder and harder to meet each year to keep up our streets. Property purchases, if you have anything that you're looking at there, this is competing dollars. Obviously, reconnecting Arcata is not just this funding, but obviously matching funding going forward. You would probably have it come out of this fund. Economic development projects, and then I know we have a report on the Valley West Community Center planning phase coming forward, and that this would potentially be seed money for that project too. So what I would say is the money is there, but once you spend it, you use it, and you reduce the other things that you can do with it. So it's really weighing the priority to the city council to figure out what you're willing to do. And it doesn't mean that you can't dig into these funds if they're there 3 months from now, 6 months from now, or at some time in the future.
Thank you.
You go ahead. Actually, Councilmember White, I wanted to ask you a question because I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but if you read our agenda packet, the water rate stuff is the recommendation for raising our rates is eminent, and it looked like it wasn't if we're raising them, but how. And I don't think that's a concern that we've all had, and especially for folks that we're worried about, we talked about a priority being for low income. So I'm just wondering, do you feel any conflicts or any concerns, or do you feel like I'm just curious.
I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great. First, I just want to say thank you for giving us the big picture, 9 million, a little more. But this was a DEI project, connecting communities, diversity, inclusion, equity, inclusion. So I feel like 300,000 really is just a drop in the bucket. I just returned from the NALEO, the National Association of Latino Elected Officials, and this might be a stretch. I don't know. I'm stretching. But it was on disaster preparedness, and I've learned a whole lot about building resiliency for today and tomorrow's hazards. And I feel like we talked about water, and I found out there are a lot of rural grants out there available at the federal level that states have been beefing up the water opportunities for grants. I also learned that portion of the conference was dedicated to funding opportunities for state and local infrastructure investment. And they were talking about funding critical projects that ensure safety, sustainability, and equity in communities that are typically left out or fall between the cracks. So I'm hoping that we can find the money and prioritize something that Valley West is always losing out. It's about equity, and I feel like, yes, that is important. And of course, all of these other things that we're talking about. If I felt like that $300,000 was like firmly committed to a Valley West Community Center, I'd be all like, oh, okay, maybe I could compromise there. But right now, we're so isolated that if there was anything that would happen, we don't have anywhere to go. And we don't have, people out there don't have cars. Most of the unhoused community don't own a car. They ride bikes, and there's just no safe pathway for that. So it feels like there's just so many reasons. And the community, they made the choice of prioritizing this. When we went out and asked the community what they thought about it, they told us. So it feels like, well, why ask if we're not going to follow their recommendation? Anyway, I don't know if that answered anything there.
I mean, it did, but I guess, first of all, I just want to be clear. I very much support it. I thought that I was asking you a genuine question. I thought I made it really clear. I support it. So I'm just trying to have a dialogue.
Right.
Because the Valley West Community Center is on there, and we've been talking about that much longer than reconnecting Arcata. So I'm only asking because things are limited. The water rates, I just know people are going to come undone. And so that's the only, I'm trying to just be really clear. So if we move forward on this and we get in a bind for one of these other things, like, is that okay? You know, would you, so I mean, 'cause you
Garbage
just-
rates are going to go
They
up
have
too
to be
in the next couple
mutually
of months.
exclusive, and I
Okay.
guess I would direct that question to Netra with regards to are there opportunities that might be able to fill in that gap for the water rates, in particular, you know, our older adult community and fixed income folks?
Well, it's again, grants these days are hard to come by. We did apply for state grant/loan for our waterline project, but the current rate system does not support that. We need to increase our rates even to qualify for the loan application for the state loan, not even a grant, just for the loan. We need to increase our rates so we can qualify for those loans.
And we already know that we will have a rate increase and that we can actually extend it over a 5-year period so that it's not going to so heavily impact those who are on fixed incomes.
Maybe, maybe not. We don't know
I don't know. They look like
what's going to happen
it's
exactly.
going to go up. I mean, both of those scenarios, when we talk about it, it's initially a pretty big jump, and then again, garbage rates are going to come before us too in the next couple of months.
Okay.
I
yeah,
would much rather. I'm sorry. I would
Nope.
much rather
finish.
I would
Then I get me time.
honestly, if we're talking about like picking through, I would much rather like have a community center in Valley West. That's something tangible. That's something that we can do now. That's not something that could happen in 10 or 20 years that we will not possibly get federal or state funds from.
And I did say that if I knew that was going to come to fruition, then I could absolutely be on board for that, for the community center.
Can I ask a question that I feel like is kind of no brainer maybe, but I don't know if we've adventured it yet, but this project is a partnership between us and Cal Poly and Caltrans. Have we approached Cal Poly or Caltrans as wanting to maybe split these initial funds and see if they're interested? Because I think $300,000 for us feels like a lot, but I think $100,000 each probably doesn't feel like a lot to any of us. And so are these, groups interested in helping us make this initial investment to perhaps get this off the ground?
That's a very good point, and we have reached out to Caltrans, and they don't have money to fund towards this project. That we heard from staff. From Cal Poly, we have not directly contacted for seeking funds for this portion, but we could ask them.
I think we should ask Cal Poly, and then I want to say what I want to say because I haven't really got to talk yet. You guys don't even know where I'm at. So I would like to just say that I think that looking at it in this frame, as we look at this list of all the things that it could be backfill funding, but also looking at like this as an intersecting opportunity with these various things. And I think that like economic development has really been a central kind of thing that this council has been excited about. And one of the areas in the community that we've kind of focused on for both not just economic development, but for housing as well, like our next infill opportunity zone that we're going to be doing form-based code for and looking at is going to be the Valley West area. And so I really see, being able to try to bring this project to fruition or at least get something off the ground as an investment in these things that we actually are already doing in Valley West, because it's going to be definitely our next large area for housing, which will require safe transportation to and from to kind of, again, push forward our priorities about, lowering emissions, focusing on infill, right? But if your infill zone is isolated from the rest of the community, there's really no point in having infill if you don't have the infrastructure to connect it. And so I also, as the question I kind of asked as a statement earlier, I think that investing in this initially is going to not only help us be able to secure funds that we might have already applied for and are hopefully just waiting on hold, but also to seek different sources of funding to be able to, again, apply for other grants that we might not even know exist yet or aren't even open yet for us to apply for. So I think that And again, too, that Valley West is our area of the community where we have the most hotels. We have a lot of desire to kind of have some economic revitalization with the shopping center there and everything. And so I do think that this initial investment for this project is a use of this money that is going to support a lot of things on those lists. Also, like the Annie and Mary Trail and being able to connect other parts of Arcata to that trail and get people access to that as well. They kind of all stack together. And so I would maybe like to see a good effort of us, if we're not going to move forward tonight, of maybe Cal Poly ponying up a little bit of money. Because again, this project would directly really impact them as a university. And I think they have a really vested interest in seeing something, both like the connection in Valley West due to students living in that area, and then also the cap to happen for, you know, their plans as a university. And so I think we should definitely pursue that and see, but I am pretty comfortable with wanting to move forward with this for all the reasons I just said.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there seems to be like a lot of like heightened energy, but we're pretty much all on the same page, you know? I mean, at least that's what I'm hearing up here I mean, not all, because Meredith, you have really spoken out against it, so I get that.
I'm just trying to be fiscally responsible.
No,
right
well,
now.
and it doesn't mean we're not.
I mean, we're gonna have I feel like we're gonna have midterm budget review, and we're gonna talk about all these things that we need to do now. And this is a great project. I hate like being the naysayer, but
No, I wasn't trying to call you out. I'm just saying you've made it clear, and that's fine. But there's just like a lot of energy, like as if we're arguing over it, but we're really not.
No, this is a great
And so my question earlier, because and I don't know, Mayor Stillman, if you fall into this, but the three of us have talked a lot about Valley West, and the project is 3 different zones. So my original question was, you know, do we need, if the priority, if that is what we agreed on, that's an assumption, do we need the full 300,000? So could we also help be more fiscal responsible and help you feel more comfortable about it, Councilmember Matthews, if we perhaps pared it down? So that's kind of something I wanted to ask staff and also my fellow council members. Again, it's just a question. That's all it is.
And can I ask a question in conjunction with that? Just because we received the presentation on the possible roundabouts and stuff on Samoa, and I feel like that was related to SAMSIP though. So, I mean, do we really, see as much necessity and utility in this specific project working on that area of Samoa when we're already doing other projects down there? And would it, to Stacy's point, would it be able to cut some of that cost down if we really just focus in on maybe just Valley West or Valley West and the cap specifically?
Well, I just wanted to say, I know you weren't at our last council member meeting, but the amount has been reduced. And I think it was 500,000 and now it's down to 3.
To answer that question, everything is possible. We can phase it down and just focus on Valley West. But I think the thinking here is, since we have a consultant who has worked on a project like this, so we wanted to use their specialty to focus on the whole city rather than just one area. So if we are able to do even like small planning work for the whole area, will be better than just focusing on one, because it will help us in the long term. Because through reconnecting communities, Highway to Boulevard program, the goal is to connect the community back, not just the one zone. I think it will put us in a better position if we do a master planning for the city. And definitely, we have done a lot of work for Sunset Avenue. We have done work for SAMSIP and the South Arcata. So when people ask me a question, South Arcata, that's already Reconnect Arcata project. We have already started it. So when people tell us that we have not started the project, no, we have started the project. South Arcata is a part of Reconnect Arcata project, and we have already started that. So that has begun. We can use all the studies done there to create one single document for the whole project. And we have done a lot of work for Sunset Avenue. We have done initial planning work for that. So that will be used. We have consultants on board for economic development. We have flashboard consultants on board. We will be using all the team together in the best way we can deliver the project. But the initial cost, the planning was $3 million. Then we came down to $500,000. Then 300,000 is not a lot of money. Like, definitely it's a lot of money for a small city, but doing a work, things are very expensive to get project done, do community planning, do the 3D modeling through the planning and 3D dimension planning for the whole city, it gets a little bit expensive. So we can tone down. Yes, we can tone down, but we just need to know direction, like what is that amount we need to tone down, so we can tell our consultant, okay, we told them at the RFP, we have a 3 million, give us a scope. They gave us. No, we have a 500,000, give us a scope. They gave us. Now we have 300. We didn't want to ask the scope for that because it's too much work for them also, because they're not getting paid. So if we get direction today that, hey, you have $200,000, go and work with your consultants and get the work done, then we can do that. Or you can say, nope, go ahead with $500,000 and get the work done. We can do that.
I mean, I know that right now we have consultants that were out that I was interviewed about our economic development plan. I'm just wondering, once that is finished and they bring us some really tangible ideas of things that we can do right now for economic development in the city of Arcata, and we've already spent reserves. Yeah.
Well, I have a question, because clearly I'm trying to figure it out. If you're paying attention, you can see where people lie. So I mean, the three of you guys, you could vote for it right now, and it'll pass. That's what I'm seeing. So my question is, how do the three of you feel about? Do you want to wait to engage with Cal Poly, or you just want to go forward tonight? I mean, the votes are sitting right here, so there's no use in arguing.
Let's see, maybe public comment.
Could I just respond to that? So it's a question. I mean, if we were to approve the current budget of 300,000, and then you are able to strike up a deal with Cal Poly Humboldt, we can come back to the table and lower that amount that we were going to use. And then as say we are awarded that grant that you are going to apply for in November. Once again, we don't have to spend all the money. It's a starting point for us. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, I also think that the consultants that you want to bring on board, they're very thoughtful and very, I don't want to use the word clever, but I would say they're very oriented towards good design and how to make things happen. So I would think that we don't want to just relegate it to one area in Arcata, but we want to look at the whole thing. And so eventually, I know we're a sanctuary city, we're a sanctuary state, and all of that affects us as far as the federal government at this time. But there may be some, if we think about how things can change or how we do things or write things, there may be a possibility to get some kind of funding. And I think this is setting the tone for the future. And, I look back, we're 50 years ago, we worked on scaling down the freeway in Arcata. So it wasn't as massive and as wide as it is now, and as it could have been now, and it's not. And so it takes 50 years. I mean, you think about that. 50 years ago, we worked on that project. Now it's 50 years later, and we're looking at some of the things that happened. Before the freeway came in, it was an expressway. And before that, it had little walkways across the creek to get from one side of Arcata to the other, historically speaking. And so this area through Arcata was a chosen one because I think it worked really well. You had slopes going up on either side, and you look at historic photographs and you can see how the community managed, and you can read stories about how they got from one side to the other. But I'm thinking, this is a progression for the future of Arcata to make things better, and that's what I think that's where I come from. And I know it's money, and money is money, but it takes money. There's a saying, you have to spend money to get money and certain things, and you're laughing about that, but I think there is a saying like that.
Don't ice in her thing.
Oh, well, I'm not laughing about that. I'm looking at our staff. I'm not, your eyes falling. So I would support it, and I agree with the fact if Cal Poly says, "Oh, we'll come in and help you with 50,000," and then we just drop it down to 250. If we get a grant, we drop it down because we're going to be working. Not everything's going to happen lickety split, and we're going to be paying as we go. Anyway, that's my feeling. So do we want to have any public comment on this? Or you all just, we've done you in conversation about it, so thank you for coming forward and speaking on this item.
Dan Sheen from Arcata. I only got to briefly see the line items from the budget of that project, that $300,000. But when I hear about a consultant who says, when you ask them how much it's gonna cost, they ask, well, how much you got, right? They're gonna fill whatever amount of money we're willing to shovel in there. So when it says $68,000 for social media, email outreach, and community meetings, my only question is, how many meetings is that? Like, why does it cost $68,000 to do that? That's my biggest question. And some of the other line items seemed also very inflated for not really spelling out the exact value. I would want to know, for that amount of money, how many community meetings is that? And how long is the report? How many man hours are involved in each of the line items? And what is the breakdown in cost per hour? And is that a reasonable cost? That's how you define whether there's value in a project, not that they'll take any amount of money that we're willing to give them. So that's all I would say. Before you can make a informed decision, get the information on how that money is actually going to be spent. Those line items were very vague. So that would be my only comment.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? No one? You sure? Okay.
Well, the only thing,
No, but if the council did want to see a specific proposal, I mean, I think just a few comments of listening, Netra made some incredibly strong points, and I agree with him 100% on what he said. And what you're seeing is a desire from staff to keep momentum going on a project, which they put an RFP out on, to keep that momentum and keep that project going. And like he said, doing a couple of different proposals at different values, it's very time consuming. So, I think there's, really the question is, moving forward now, and putting money towards this now would keep that momentum going. Really the only alternative is to seek those grants, which, as Netra said, would be, they're uncertain, but there's more transportation planning money out there that could be put towards these projects. But what you risk is delaying this project 1.5 to 2 years and not having that momentum. And in all likelihood, you'd have to put out another request for proposals, and it all takes a lot of time. And so really what you're buying by doing this now is you're buying time. The one other thing, and to the point of the public commenter, is that, if the council feels, hey, $300,000 is a reasonable amount, we want to continue to make this time, then you could ask for that specific proposal, giving some certainty that, hey, we want to move forward. Then you could look at that specific proposal. You could get an answer from Cal Poly. But again, to Councilmember Schaefer's comments, if the council's inclined to support this, that might be the one more thing you ask for is, okay, tell us exactly what we're going to do. Look at that, have the specific scope of work, and have it come back to you. Rule out whether or not there's additional funds, then you know exactly what you're looking at. So, but I think what you're seeing is a desire in staff just to keep the momentum going on this project so it doesn't go by the wayside and kind of die out and wait for 1.5 years, and to capture that momentum in the highly qualified consultant that we have.
And if that was the case, it died out, and then all of a sudden there was money available, we would not be qualified to apply.
Well, the city would have to put out, yeah, right. If there was money available, and I think that's the bigger question: is there going to be federal, state funding that comes available? Planning grants, yeah, likely at the state level, there's going to be planning grants. Is there going to be a big pool like there was the stimulus type funds after COVID, or infrastructure investment IIJA funds? Unlikely coming from the federal government in the near future, but you can't predict what's going to happen. The question is, do we want to be ready? Do we want to have that in the vision and keep the momentum on this project? And so again, what you're seeing is staff doing their job, which is trying to move these important projects forward. Everybody agrees it's important. So the question is, do we spend it on this project now, or do we look at this list, which probably could be 5 times that long, honestly, on the different things we could spend it on, and hold that money back? But I think at a minimum, getting a specific proposal, ruling out Cal Poly funds, but don't waste the time. If you're not willing to spend that money, if you're not willing to commit the money, then don't ask for a specific scope from the consultant. But I think you should see that specific scope of work, and you say, hey, how many meetings is it? What is our product going to be? Is it a project study report? And getting that is completely reasonable to ask for. So you have a little more definition And I think that's what Netra is looking for, is an indication that the council would want to spend this money, provided that there's a reasonable scope of work that comes forward.
So can I ask you a question? I mean, we made decisions long before we had ARPA and stimulus funds. I personally am ready to make a motion to award the contract in the amount of $300,000 to the Smith Group Incorporated for professional services for planning, community outreach, preliminary concept design for the Reconnect Arcata project, and to authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents.
You making a motion?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I would second that motion with the addition of what our city manager indicated, that we, get to maybe feast our eyes on that scope of work and kind of understand, what those line items are saying, and to also reach out to Cal Poly and see if they're willing to help support in this project.
And to the speaker's question about community engagement, we could use our new program, which is the vote, to also engage the community, might shave off some money. So there's lots of ways that we can
And so, and if I could just clarify and ask the council, it seems like the motion are two different things. One is to award it and authorize that contract now. The other is to bring back a final scope of work for council approval. So we need to go one direction or the other with that.
I think it was with the caveat that we would
So
definitive.
So is your motion okay with the second caveat that I
Absolutely,
added?
yes.
pending, and would the council want to see that final scope of work back? So bring this back with a specific scope of work for council approval, with the direction to staff to bring a scope of work back for $300,000.
Well, so we're going to approve the $300,000 tonight.
It really
Or
would be, I think your choice is direction to staff to create a final proposal and voice your support for awarding that contract for $300,000, but to bring
Okay.
back a specific proposal with the scope of work from the consultant, so you can scrutinize that and look at that.
And so, well, I was
And-
just
and
going to
also-
ask if you have that motion. I mean, because it's changed from what she said to what you added, so.
Which I concurred with that addition.
So
moved.
then I would ask that you clarify, just for our city clerk, I see Rhea
We
wanting.
need to
So it would be
be
direction to
clear.
staff to come back with a specific proposal in the amount of $300,000, subject to council approval, subject to final approval by the council for award. So it's really just direction to staff at this point. I don't think it's not approving the contract.
My intention was to approve the contract with
Well,
the
then that- and-
caveat.
That's a different motion. You had, that's what your motion was. And Sarah, did you second her motion with that intent, or did you?
Well, can I say something that might help? Yep. Might help, because I know it's kind of, it's landing on you right now. It's just that normally when we make a motion to approve a contract, like that's staff's job is to negotiate the contract. So we rarely say, I'll approve a thing if we can see the contract. Like, I understand the public commenter's concern, but everything that we do is ridiculously expensive. That is the world we live in, and I think we all can see that. And staff's job is to procure great contracts, and that's what you do. So I kind of feel like that's a natural thing that would happen, but maybe I'm wrong.
I do feel like usually when we like approve contracts like this, though, like the consultant is here and they tell us what they're going to do and like how they're going to address the project. And so I feel like that is something that's like missing, that we're kind of like just throwing money at a contract that, we know what these consultants do and what happens when they come in and the types of meetings. And we've all been through it with Gateway and everything like that. But, also like we just had with the economic development plan, like we saw a presentation, they told us the scope of work, we approved that contract. So I feel like that is kind of a piece of it that is missing. And so that's kind of just what I'm wondering. Yeah. Like where.
And it is typical to have a specific scope of work and fee. And a lot of times you'd be able to review that scope of work. And I think I'll let Netra weigh in on this, but really the desire is to keep that momentum going. And so having that indication from council, bringing back a scope of work specific with that fee in mind, is so the council knows exactly what they're doing. Right now, what we have is only a scope of work and proposal for $500,000.
That is true. Right now, we have a detailed scope of work from the consultants for the $500,000. We do not have that. And because, as I said earlier, it takes time and effort on their part to prepare that document. If they know it will be awarded in some way, then we can work with them for $300,000. I think that's the intent here.
So you need, what is the best thing for us to do is to be able to say what the amount is going to be. And then they can figure out how to bring their scope of work into that, instead of thinking it's 500 and it's 300. And so you have to, just like when you go shopping, you have to decide, are you going to spend $100 or $50 on that dress? And then you decide which one you're going to buy.
So I just want to clarify, Stacy, if I understand correctly, you're assuming, which we should, that they're going to do their job. And so my motion stands then without the caveat, because I know that you will get us the best deal. You will have a scope of work for us once this is approved. But having them do this without, I mean, it costs money, all the money they've invested. So I, again, would like to award a contract in the amount of $300,000 to the Smith Group.
We have a motion on the floor, but we have to make sure the second person is agreeable to the motion. And if not, we need to have another one come through forward.
Can I just clarify? That's what I asked Kimberly. That's what I said, staff does the job, whatever. But then the point that Sarah brought up saying, yeah, but usually we do have it in front of us. We have all the details. So that kind of negated my assumption. So, and for staff direction, I am on board to head in this direction. I know that's the main thing that you need, so we're not jumping back and forth, but I guess it's still on your shoulders, Sarah.
No, and I think what I'm saying is that, yes, I am amenable to supporting this, but it sounds like, kind of what we're looking for is to see a little bit more of that. And I really do think pursuing a conversation with Cal Poly also is something that I would really like to see. And so I'm happy providing that direction to staff right now. But with the idea that, when you approach them, that you do have the votes to approve it. But I would like to see that first. And I would like Cal Poly to give us $100,000.
So you want to withdraw your second?
Well, I seconded something that had a caveat that shouldn't be.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So we don't have a second.
I am saying, there is no second. I would like to see the staff direction that Merritt was City Manager Perry was talking about, and move with that.
So, Mayor, the motion on the table is, as Councilmember White has stated, it's to approve the contract with a $300,000 cap. That's the
But I
motion.
did give the caveat the second time round to agree with Sarah.
Which then is not a motion, it's direction to staff, and we will see
Okay.
this item again.
Right.
So it's a different
So
thing. So
it's-
I'm
yeah,
just
with-
trying to find out, do we have a second to the motion?
Again, the motion for clarity for the city clerk is just to approve the contract with a $300,000 cap. And that's the motion, and you can move forward with a second, since your second was withdrawn.
We'll have to find a second.
Well, there's not, but it's good news at large for those that are in moving forward, because it's pretty clear that 4 people are wanting to move forward. We just need a little bit of detail. So I wouldn't call it a loss, unless you don't think we should be doing it. And then it is a loss, because 4 people are headed pretty strongly in a direction, because Netra made it clear, please do not go back and forth, with this. Let's, we've already made a lot of changes. So I think we're all 4 headed in that same direction.
Okay, we don't have a second for the motion.
I mean, I think that if this is a project that I think sending it back to staff again to show you something else. I think if you want to do it, just do it and see. I don't see what good this is going to do going back and forth.
So I'm going to second the motion. And then we can vote on it. So it'll either die or it'll pass, whichever. We'll see. So we have a motion.
My second was confusing because I want to approve it and I want that information. They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
We're going to get the information.
I'm sure information will. I'm sure that information will be forthcoming.
Our way. But you weren't 100% sure if you wanted to second the motion. So let's move. Okay, let's move on. You want to say something else, please?
Thank you. Thank you for the enthusiasm. Here's the thing. I think this is a great project, and it'll be lasting for, as Mayor said, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. We want to be mindful in how we bring this project and how we get this approval. So I would say let us work with, like you said, work with Cal Poly, ask them if they are willing to spend money or not. We will know that maybe by tomorrow, or at least in a week or two, we will know that. We can prepare a detailed scope for the amount and bring it back to you in maybe not next meeting, maybe the following meeting, because next meeting I'm not here. But somebody else could bring it and it may get approved. And so what we could do is work with the consultants, give you the detailed scope, and work with Cal Poly and bring it back. So rather than just approving not sure what we are approving, I think it'll be good for you all to feel comfortable what you're approving, what the tasks are getting done. That would be my recommendation. I'm the last person to say let's not do it today, because I would like to say, yes, let's move forward. I got 4 and let's move forward. But no, I think this is a great project, and we want to maybe make sure we are putting some time, effort, and thinking to move forward. So I would say,
Well, there is a motion and a second. You might as well.
Right, there is a
So
motion and a
Would you prefer
second.
to have it, would you
So-
suggest that we do a voice?
So there's two, you should take a vote.
Yes.
My sense is you probably don't want this one to move forward, and somebody will be making a amended or a separate motion.
Okay.
Yes, no?
Let's just take all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye. And I just want to say, this is excellent.
I didn't get to say, and is there anyone who does not support this motion?
I'm going to say nay.
Thank you.
But this is a great conversation. This is what local government is supposed to be. We just did a lot of hard work. It shouldn't feel silly or ridiculous that we talked about it a lot. It shows that we take our job seriously.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I want this information from you, but I don't think we need to bring it
Honestly,
back in a way that we need to vote again, and let's
I
get that
hope
info
you
and
all
go
prove
for it.
me wrong. I hope that we get oodles of federal and state money. I hope that it turns, but I just don't believe that we're going to.
So as far as me and Valley West, back when I was on the city council before in 2006, 2014, that is something we talked about from the community development department on trying to figure out what all these different ideas that we could do for Valley West. So I do support Valley West. I just want you to know that. And I always have. So thank you. Okay, we are through with that one. Woo-hoo. So now we get to go, there's no new business. And we're going to move on to oral and written communications. The city council values your comments. The public comment period allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. Please know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the agenda. The council may respond to statements. Well, I said 3, and that's what it says, so later we go to 3. Okay, first speaker, please. And thank you for waiting.
Sure. Hi, I'm Emily Lynn. I'm a homeowner in the Greenview neighborhood of Arcata. I also volunteer with a number of local organizations. I'm here today to voice strong support for Arcata becoming an official sister city with Gaza City. And thank you to Vice Mayor White and Councilmember Schaefer for voicing previous support. I'm also asking the council to support an ethical city procurement policy free of purchases from companies that do business with Israel. In the last couple of years, Israel's occupation and siege of Gaza has developed into a genocide as declared by the UN Human Rights Council report, which was released on September 16th, which was 2 weeks ago. I implore you, as our city council, to open your hearts and minds to empathize with the everyday realities of Palestinians in Gaza today. When will we, as a city, take concrete action towards peace? If we do not take action now, when will we take action? I hope it is not when there is no one left to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Would you like to move forward, please, to speak? Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Birdsong, Arcata resident. I would also like to encourage the city council to support the Gaza Sister City idea. The genocide is happening as we speak, intensifying as we speak, and it probably will be just if it makes a difference at all, it will make a difference in how we're looking at humanity. Like these are people. They're being obliterated, and we have an obligation to stand up and say something. So I hope you take it to heart and consider doing this. It would be a big step in intention in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Lev, local Jew, speaking in support of the Sister City Initiative. Like many liberal American Jews, I am horrified by what the Netanyahu government has done to Palestine in my name. I reject Netanyahu's war of aggression because maybe this started in self-defense, but we all know it stopped being about self-defense a long time ago. To kill thousands of children and women, to make refugees of an entire people, is the most immoral and the most un-Jewish thing that someone could do. The Sister City Initiative is a powerful expression of our city's recognition of the fundamental humanity of the people of Gaza. It is not a referendum on the government of Hamas. Just as we in this room do not wish to be punished for the abuses of the Trump administration, neither should we conflate the humanity of another people with the misdeeds of their leaders. The Sister City Initiative shows the Palestinian people and the world that we are watching, that we will not be silent as Netanyahu tries to destroy them in service of a violent nationalist project uncomfortably resonant with right-wing politics in the US today. As Israel's war becomes increasingly unpopular, Democratic voters in particular are looking for leaders who show moral clarity on this issue. The Council has taken some steps in the right direction so far, and I urge you to continue to be brave and resolute. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Gomez. I am a resident of Arcata here. I'm a member of the chapter of Humboldt DSA, it's Democratic Socialists of America. Just want to support the city in becoming a sister city with the city of Gaza. For 77 years, Palestine has been invaded, tortured, and starved. They need aid. As a sister city, we can help. Every little bit helps to give humanitarian aid and love to fellow human beings. And I just want to encourage you to vote to pass this and to help the people of Palestine, because it's our time. I see you guys made a decision today, came together. I think you guys can do this too, because if we wait longer, there's not going to be anything left to help. So I encourage you to please do that. Stand up for the people of Palestine. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Hello, my name's Joanne McGarry. I'm appreciating 3 minutes at the end of the meeting to have public comment because I like to talk on three things. I want to talk about the room here and how the meeting is being conducted and how we're looking at things on screens and all, and the fact that there's no Zoom opportunities. I think things look good now on the screen. It really would be nice if we had me talking in a corner on the screen and you listening, and or things like this more permanently on the screen when you're discussing it, because if people are watching from home, it's not as clear maybe as sitting in this room. So I just think that we can look at different ways of how we are presenting this meeting for people in the room and for people watching or watching later on tape. So the second thing I want to talk about is stand down and task force. I was able to go to the stand down out at the Humboldt County Fairgrounds for one day with a friend for veterans, but I wanted to see how it was operating, because I think that concept of a concentrated place, a concentrated time to help vulnerable people get some services and material goods and get fed and have some interaction and learn about a lot of services was really good. There were a lot of tables and how it was designed. I was only there one of the days, but very impressive. And I think when we are talking regionally about how to care for our vulnerable populations, especially in the wintertime, extreme weather, considering organizing something like that. So, and a task force could maybe help do that. I think a working group's fine, but I think we need citizen task force on this issue. Finally, 3 people today have been present in my mind. Today is the 101st birthday of President Jimmy Carter, who is no longer with us, but a great man, a wise elder, and somebody that I look to and am inspired by. Also, somebody I had the opportunity to meet one time, which was Jane Goodall, who passed today. A person, I just picked up her book, The Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times. And she's always consistently been a messenger of hope and of peace and of decency for the world and the planet. And finally, Greta Thunberg. We passed a resolution for humanitarian aid to get to Gaza. She was arrested once again by the Israeli forces at the Mediterranean Sea trying to get humanitarian aid there, and we need to do more for Gaza.
Our next speaker, please.
Hi again. Dan Shaheen from Arcata. I'm also Palestinian American. Got 2 Palestinian children. I got thousands of pictures of them in my phone. I could show you. They're beautiful, loving kids. Their best friends happen to be 2 Jewish sisters, local Jewish sisters. None of the politics of the situation mean anything to children. And these are the children of Gaza that are being declared terrorists if they don't leave their home, a city that's been in existence for thousands of years is now about to be turned into a parking lot. It's going to be turned into a resort at the behest of my president and your president. The humanity of these people is being denied every single day from every direction. But I want to thank the council for your recent decisions to support the letter to CalPERS for divestment, and also to support the ceasefire initiative that you unanimously signed. When you agreed to those things, you said that you uphold international law, and I believe you. You believe in the life of children, that innocent people should not be held accountable for the deeds of their government. I think we can all look around at the situation we find ourselves in and sympathize with that. If we were all judged by our leaders, how would each one of us be judged in the eyes of others? Right? We got to think about that. I know it's a difficult thing. And how can we even get any relief to people who are being not just plausibly, but literally genocided, ethnically cleansed out of their homeland? I mean, nobody's cared for 75 plus years. So why would they care now? Why are people starting to care? It's because there's no denying the humanity of these children. We've all seen it. We all know that you cannot judge a child for the sins of their parents, let alone the sins of their government. So when you think about what we can do, we can't help anybody. We can't change that situation. All we can do, the only thing we have left is a signal of love, that we reject hatred, that we reject ethnic cleansing, that we support international law. I don't think that's controversial. I don't think that's very difficult to argue for. And also, I will note that every single person tonight who spoke in favor of the Gaza City, and not one single genocide denier was able to show up and speak against it.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during oral communications? Well, not seeing anyone moving forward, I'm going to close oral communications. Next item on our agenda will be council reports. And who would like to start first?
I can
Okay,
start
Sarah-
down here. It'll be
Sarah.
really quick. I had an RCEA meeting. It was really long, like they always are, and we talked about a lot of stuff, including biomass, which is always so fun. But we had a really interesting presentation that was on data centers and AI usage and the impacts on the national grid, California's grid, and then our local grid. And she kind of broke it down by region and what that strain would be, and you know how the city is planning for it, how companies are planning for it. So it was really interesting. And I know that they uploaded at least the slides and the information for that presentation to the RCEA website. And I think it's also linked on their social media. So if that's something that you're interested in checking out, I would recommend doing that.
All right, I'll go. All right. I am muddling through my week without driving. If you read my little article that I wrote on Loco today, not easy, but I'm trying. I was just appointed to the Board of Access Humboldt, so I've got my first meeting in a couple weeks. I'm really excited for that. And I'm happy to say the Arcata Chamber of Commerce hired a new executive director. So Mayor is the new director of the Arcata Chamber. I'm really looking forward to working with her. And Dan, it's Yom Kippur tonight. That's probably why there's no Jews here making public comment. So.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to go back and forth? You can go next, Stacy, and then we'll go to Kimberly. We'll just go back and forth.
Sounds good. I don't have a lot. Thank you, first of all, Council, for allowing me to remotely attend. I have been bouncing back and forth to the Napa area to help with the medical situation that is urgent in my family. So thank you for allowing me to come in on that. And because of that, I did not attend my Humboldt County Association of Governments meeting, HCOG. I did, however, attend the California Association of Governments meeting, which is CalCog, where we went over different proposed legislation. And I did attend the road use charge meeting, which again is that years and years of discussion and trying to figure out how to move forward with some pilot programs, ultimately transitioning us to a different way of collecting instead of the gas tax, like more of a road use charge. So I did that. And we did have maybe when it's time for our city manager to report, we did a resource fair to for a group for homeless individuals, similar to what was brought up in public comment. And so if he could report on that, that would be great.
Thank you, Kimberly.
All right. I attended a Cal Poly Humboldt liaison meeting on board the Mattakit. It's so important that the city work on our town and gown relationship, and this is a great opportunity to do so. Today I attended the Humboldt Equity Consortium. We spoke about the possibility with the climate of what's happening now to do some nonviolent communication possibly. I just got back from El Paso, Texas on disaster preparedness, learned about all kinds of state and federal opportunities. So hoping that we might be able to, if we haven't already, we got a great team, so they probably already are aware of them all. There will be a bilingual walking tour of 3 possible sites for the future of Valley West Community Center, which will be a space for residents to engage in recreational and community activities. That's Saturday, October 11th from 3:30 to 4:30, departing from Valley West Park at 1340 Howland Drive. That's across from the Kuna Resilient Hub. For those of you who cannot join the tour, come by Valley West Park anytime between 3 and 5 to learn more. Food will be provided for participants. For more information, you can contact Emily Benvey, our Deputy Director of Environmental Services, at 825-8184. And we're all gearing up for next week's League of Cities conference, and that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. I attended the HTA meeting today, and everything is moving along smoothly. And so the buses are going to come. The rest of the hydrogen buses will start to come. I have 2 things I want to mention, but one thing I wanted to mention is that the information. So Cal Poly is up by 231 students, almost 4% from last year, the 4th consecutive fall semester. And this has shown increasing growth. So right now, with our fall semester, we have 6,276 students at Humboldt. And I just wanted to mention that because I can remember when I was there, which was back in the 70s, we had 7,000 students. And so I'm glad to see that we're moving forward. And I just wanted to mention that. So the other thing is I wanted to say that we should all I didn't really participate that much, but because of the Gateway, but we received 2025 Award of Excellence for the Arcata General Plan 2045. And here it is. So I'm going to show it to you all. Here it is. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. for working on this and making sure that we had it. And it's really exciting that we have 2 awards now. We received one from the Northern California, and now we have one from the whole state of California on our general plan. So thank you. And you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Mayor Stillman, I just wanted to respond to Councilmember Atkins Salazar comment. And, I think I might consider trying to move the city manager's report to the end of the meeting instead of the beginning in the future, because I always think of good things to say at the end. But I did want to just follow up on the question or comment. I just wanted to let the rest of the council know that we did work with County Health and Human Services to set up a resource fair for some of the unhoused that have been living out in the area. They've been calling it the Back 40 or the Johnson property. And so we were able to get Health and Human Services, representatives from Arcata House, Open Door Clinic, and there were some very positive outcomes from that, which are some people were able to get a ride to the hospital who needed treatment. And so there was, I wouldn't say it was highly attended, but it was attended by people who could take advantage of those services. So it was great to get our partners in the community and healthcare out there to do that. And then the one other thing that I might mention is we have interest, and I was contacted by one of our political sciences professors, and they have a student who's interested in helping the city to write a sister city policy. And I think that's one of the things we've talked about for some time. What would the city want to see? What are other communities doing? What would a sister city policy look like? What kind of things would the city want to see to actually consider a sister city policy? So silent on what any particular sister city, and I know there's interest out there in Gaza municipality and other places in the world right now, but at least the city having a policy, we could put something forward of what the city would want to see in that eventuality. So I'm leaning towards, unless I hear otherwise at another time, to engage this volunteer and have them do some background research, look at sister city policies, and bring that information back to council for the council to consider considering a generic sister city policy and what the city would want to see in that. So that's something that they're very interested in doing, and so I'm proceeding with that at this time.
Well, I definitely agree with that, because anyway, I met with that professor, and that was one of the things that she said she could really work on. And it was one of the things I discussed with her, is that we needed to look into that. And the student is very interested in government, and this professor is very well versed in sister city things. And so I thought it was a good combination. I'm glad to see that you're moving forward on it and that it'll fall under you. So thank you.
And I feel like that's timely, and that Equity Arcata, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, is talking about the possibility of the city of Arcata having a sister city with Oaxaca. So, yeah, perfect timing for all of this.
If I could just add to the mayor's report, or just a reminder maybe about our visitors we had this.
Yes, I could have that. So we did have Thursday, I think it was Thursday. It was Tuesday. There were a group of Oaxacan students, high school students that are up here, and they are actually pretty much housed in McKinleyville, and they came with all the seats were filled, and all the city staff was here, was able to introduce themselves and say somewhat about what they did. And later in the day, I happened to be downtown, and there they are all walking up the street, and I'm just standing there waving. They go, "Oh," and they start waving back, because I think they recognized me from earlier in the day. And they were very enthused. And I think one of them was a Rotary student who was on an exchange program. And I had a friend come, and she's often had Rotary students staying with her, and they have one that may need a placement. And so that all could work out too, because he talked to her a lot about what his friend was like and how he needed this placement. So I think it was excellent, and I think it's part of the whole movement that we have, where people are talking about we have such a connection with Oaxaca, because we have professors that have been going down there for a long time and working, Engineers Without Borders that I'm aware of, art shows down there from citizens from up here. And I was in Brio one day, and I had a professor saying, "I just came back from Oaxaca. It's something we should really consider." They have a university. They've reached out with their university to help any students that might have difficulty with the situation that we have in our country right now, that they would be able to get them into college and out of college without any problems. So they've been working really well. It was great to see them all here and to see all the other students that came with them. So it was really a good thing.
And last year we had hosted Kuna, the Hawakan author event, and there was over 75 in attendance. So, yeah.
So anyway, there we go. This is really something to be honored, and I'm assuming it'll go in our case with the other one that we got. And I noticed that the Oaxacans, they were there, standing there, taking pictures of everything that was in the case. So I think they were going back and be able to talk about that from one point or another. We have no future meetings on our agenda tonight. We don't have a closed session. We have no closed session reports, and we're adjourned. Thank you. And thank you to our attorney for being present this evening.